Hello everyone, I'm Kat from the Littlestown Library of the Adams County Library System, and welcome to today's Tiny Art for Adults and Teens. Today we are going to do a painting of relaxing with a glass. So if you signed up for an art kit, then you'll receive the following. One blank 4x4 canvas, a tiny easel, one paintbrush, and 4 paint pots with the following colors: black, white, yellow, and red orange or vermilion, which is a type of red orange. In addition to that, I do recommend that you have some paper towels put down so that way you don't get paint everywhere, and to have another paper towel so that way you can clean your brush between colors. I also recommend that you have something to put water in, clean water, to clean your brush also between colors. And if you have something to use as a paint palette, like a plastic lid that doesn't go to anything, a paper plate, something like that, because there will be a little bit of color mixing in this painting. So if you signed up for an art kit, you'll receive those items. If you didn't, you're more than welcome to follow along with your own supplies at home. So, without further ado, let's relax with a glass and get painting. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is get some of the red orange and start painting the background of the sky. Since it's kind of a sunset, we're going to have a very reddish, red-orange kind of skyline there. So I want to go ahead and get those. Just a straight up vermilion there. And make sure you get it entirely covered. You see there's a little bit of white spots here and there, so you might need to go back a couple times, get a little more of the orange. And make sure you get the sides as well of your canvas. And you're going to get a little bit of yellow and mix that in with the orange, so that way it's a little bit lighter and you can blend that. Because closer to the horizon line, the sun's kind of going down, so you have the yellow mixed in to make it a lighter orange there. So that's kind of like the top half of your canvas. And then you'll want to, once this part is done, then you'll want to get a tiny bit of black and mix that with your vermilion, with your red orange, just to darken it up a little bit, so that way we have the top of the sky is a little bit darker. You don't want too much black. If you add too much black at this point, then it'll make it too dark and muddy. You just want to darken up just a little bit. And make sure you get the top edges too. So just blend that down with the rest of the sky there. I mean, I keep calling this a sunset, but it could technically also be a sunrise. Sometimes those kind of can look a little bit similar, but the colors are kind of bold, and with the oranges and everything, which makes me think more of a sunset rather than a sunrise. So again, make sure you get the edges, get the top of your canvas as well.
so once that looks like how you want it, then you want to get a little bit more black mixed in with your vermilion, so it's sort of a darker, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's kind of like a, not quite a brown, but sort of like a maroonish brown. This is going to be the water here, so that's sort of the middle portion here. So you want it darker than what you did at the top of the sky, because the water's kind of in shadow, and so you just want to make that a bit darker, which means you just add a little bit more black in with your red orange. Again, make sure you get the sides, so that way it just melds a little bit better. Just canvases look better, or paintings look better when, at least of this kind, if you go off of the edges a little bit. And just make sure you're pulling the paint all in like one direction, so when you see like the brush marks, it all just kind of flows in one direction, rather than looking streaky. I mean, this portion here, it doesn't matter really so much if it looks kind of streaky, because it is water, so it's fine if it's a little bit of a streak in here, because we'll be going back over that with some other touch-ups. And make sure you clean your brush, and now you just want some straight black for the bottom here where the glass is going to be resting, and you'll also need black for the horizon line as well. So we just have straight black for this portion. And you can see there's a couple spots that have like some white still showing through. That's okay if it's like right along the border where the different colors meet, because we're going to be going back over, and those will be melded together a little bit better. But just for this initial coat, it's okay if there's some white spots, as long as they're not really, really big. Make sure you get the sides and the bottom of your canvas as well. Oh, shaking. Okay. So once that's done, you'll want to let this completely dry, so about 10 minutes. Okay, so now that has completely dried, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to work on some clouds. So get a little bit of black and a little bit of the red orange, and this, you want to kind of have a color that's about the same as the water, the same shade as the water below, and just kind of dupe little spots on here. You know, just kind of wiggle your brush a little bit. Sometimes maybe make little circles, because these are clouds, so they're not going to be uniform. They're just going to kind of be there in the sky. Happy little evening clouds. I'm going to circle it, make it sort of floofy, you know. Mine kind of looks a little bit like a crocodile. And just a little bit down here. Just kind of, yeah, a little bit more up here. You want to have a couple spots where like some of the background sort of shines through. And if you want some darker areas in the middle, you can add just a little bit more black. Less is more. You can always add more if you need to, but it's better to put less on at first to see how it looks, and then you can add some more dark, more in the middle of your clouds, and leave the edges a little bit fuzzier. Just little happy clouds. And if you have the clouds like right on the edge, again, make sure that you're kind of making them go off the side of the canvas to make sure that it looks all organic and everything. It just makes it look more natural, like you captured a snapshot almost. So I'm getting the sides. And I think I might add maybe another little cloud or two. Yeah, another little wispy clouds, a little bit lighter, kind of down here, and down here. Yeah, a little up here. Just little happy clouds. And like, if you end up having a cloud that you end up not liking, you can always go back and paint over it, with, make the cloud smaller. You could just add some vermilion to make it, some red orange to make it, make the cloud smaller again. You can make it look however you want. You can put as many clouds as you want. Then once you've cleaned your brush, then you want to add a little bit of yellow along the edges. And some spots to kind of like if you see the sun kind of shining behind the clouds or like shining up at the clouds, and you have like the sunset version of the silver lining, where you have where the clouds are a little bit thinner and they're reflecting some of the sunlight. Just little dabs along the edge or inside some spots. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. Or you could even skip it if you feel like skipping this particular spot. It all depends on, how you think it looks. I know it looks a little bit odd right here because the yellow is like really sticking out. That will dull down a bit once it dries. And again, if you put some that you don't like where you don't like it, then you can always just let it dry and then paint over it. Acrylic is super forgiving for that kind of stuff. So this is a little bit easier if you have like a really fine point brush. But we're working with a kind of standard one size fits all. So if you have like a whole bunch of detail brushes, then you can get like really subtle with the clouds and everything. But we don't have that, so we're just gonna kind of work with what we've got. And it looks fine, Now, so you want to clean your brush off of the yellow and then get some black, and then we're going to do the horizon line here. It doesn't have to be very thick, but you see we'll use this opportunity to kind of cover up those white spots. And just don't make it a straight line. We want to kind of have it like a little wobbly, like there's trees or like low mountains or something in the distance. On the other side of this lake or this ocean, well, I guess a lake, probably not the ocean, but, so it's just making it kind of irregular so it looks much more organic, and that way, it just looks a little bit better, than if you just do a straight line. I mean, you can do a straight line, but, with this kind of painting, it just looks better and more organic if you have the line a little bit wiggly, again, to suggest trees or mountains. You can make it more jagged if you want. whatever works for you. And then I'm going to get some down here, and I'm going to clean up this bottom portion here. And this one is straight because this is like the edge of a table or the edge of a railing or something like that. So this one, the bottom part here, we definitely want to have it straighter. It's kind of dark down there, so if you wiggle it a little bit, it's not a big deal. It's going to be a lot harder to notice, but just trying to keep it a little bit straighter so it kind of contrasts with the other part. And then we're going to get some more of the red orange, and we're going to go down the middle here. This is going to be the reflection in the water of where like the sun is, where the sun that's setting, it's reflecting in the water. If you've ever looked out across, you know, a lake or something around sunrise or sunset, and it's like just coming over the horizon, you'll see there's that lighter portion. I know it's kind of sticking out a little bit odd right now, but again, once it dries, it'll blend in a little better, and we can always integrate it. And we also want to do some of the black and red orange, just as sort of streaks in the water to kind of give that impression of, you know, movement in the water. It doesn't have to be, you know, super, like I'm a little bit dark on the right hand side, like that's a little bit dark. I probably should lighten that up a bit. Add a little more. Yeah, let's streak those a little bit more, so it gives an impression of like movement, like there's, you know, like a little bit of lapping, like the waves are lapping a little bit. And then I want some yellow. Once you clean your brush, make sure you get some yellow, and then we want a narrower part of yellow, like right down in the middle where the sun is kind of peeking over the edge and reflecting. So again, I know this looks really kind of odd right now, but it will look better, I promise, once it dries. And again, if you don't like it, you can always wait and paint over it and try again. That's the nice thing about acrylics, is that once they dry, you can paint over them, you know, put another 2 layers or something, and it's like the part you didn't like never happened. Add a little more vermilion here, kind of widen that out a little bit, and integrate it a little bit better. And then once this part is done, and well, that was a little bit much. I didn't mean to wipe out all the yellow. Once this portion is done, then you will want to you'll want to let this completely dry. Depending on how much paint you have on here, it could be anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. But you're going to want to let this completely dry, because next we're going to actually use a pencil. Sorry, I forgot to include that in the instructions. Grab a pencil, preferably a sharp one, because we're going to need that in order to draw the glass. So make sure that completely dries, 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how much paint you have on there. Okay, so once this is dry, you'll want to probably lay it down for this part, and then draw a kind of a U shape, like a big capital U with the bottom touching the horizon line. So this is why you want to wait and make sure it's completely dry, so that way you're not dragging your pencil through the paint. So just a really gentle U shape, and then you'll want to kind of do an arch to connect the 2 top ends of the U, and then a sort of a scoop underneath that. So it's sort of like an oblong circle to show the opening into the goblet, into the glass. If you want to use a stencil, you can. There's stencils of glasses and goblets that you can print off the internet. I'm just doing this freehand because it's a really simple shape, and there you go, you can see it a little bit better. and just kind of do this sort of curve to connect. And then for the stem, you just want to go right down the middle where the sun was shining. You might not be able to see it too well. Let me tilt it a little. Yeah, you can kind of see it, but it just goes straight down. And then this part, you want to kind of curve it out and then make the base, which is also kind of an oblong circle. Oh, that's too round. Nope, that's, no, that's a little too, okay, let me try to narrow that in a little bit. Yeah, perspective can be a little bit weird. Yeah, I need to make that a little bit shallower since I'm looking at it from the side. And as you can see, I can't really erase that portion, so I'm going to paint over the pencil that I did not want, and I'm going to emphasize the part that I do want. So, and you can kind of see what the shape looks like. Yeah, because that bottom part's a little. So let me get some black paint, and I'm going to paint over this part because you can't really erase it, but since it's in the black portion, it's super easy to just paint over it to erase it, and that way it'll look better. Okay. So this next part, again, would be better if we had a detail brush, but we don't. So make sure that your brush is really clean, and we're going to get some straight up black, and we're going to do some in the inside the glass. So this is the liquid, be it wine, tea, fruit punch, whatever it is that you want here. And you just kind of want to get part of the liquid in there. It's kind of sloshing around, so it's sort of going to leave a section that's kind of open, that's going to have a different color reflecting, but a lot of it in here is going to kind of be black because it's a little too opaque for the light to shine through as it's sloshing around. So now you want to, when your brush is wet, you want to sort of pull it so it's really thin, and then you want to stick it in the black, and then very carefully put the very point of the brush along the pencil marks. So you see it's very lightly tracing the pencil. Again, this would be easier with a detail brush, but we don't have that. So we're just gonna very gently dab. And if you need to, you can put your brush back in water, and you can pull on the bristles to make it nice and thin, and keep going along the edges of the glass to outline it. See, there you go. You can just pull it so it's nice and flat. If you turn it, it's very, very thin and pointed. So then you can just dip it in the black and keep going along the edges of the glass to outline it. Right down there. Right along the lip here. Nice and easy. And again, if you mess up, you can always paint over it. Now we're just gonna go straight down the stem. Just super easy, no need to worry about curves. Okay. And just touch it a little there. So now you can see there's the glass there, and we're gonna add some more black. The liquid in the glass a little more swishy. It's okay if this part kind of is a little odd. Liquid is hard to do. I fully admit liquid is difficult to do. So it's okay if it looks a little odd to start. And then going down the stem here, you want to leave, go down the left-hand side, but leave the right side without any, because we're going to add highlights with white a little bit later. And now we're going to get, I need to touch up that a little bit better there. Get some more black, and now I'm going to do the liquid that's pouring into the glass. It's kind of sort of sliding down the side a little bit. That's why it's kind of in a a little interesting looking. And also glass refracts things that are going through it, so what's inside the glass is not going to perfectly match what's outside because of refraction. And okay, so I've got the liquid pouring in, and now I need to do the bottle that's pouring it. So this I'm just doing freehand. You basically just need the shape of the bottle. Up here there's the stem, and then I'm just going to kind of pull it out and down a little bit so you see like it's a bottle here that the liquid's pouring out of. If this part's too much of a hassle, you can just have the liquid being poured in from off screen, outside the canvas, but it looks better when you have the bottle there, like someone's pouring it. So, and then you just fill it in, plain black. It's a silhouette. No need to get fancy with that part. Just paint just straight up black. And we'll add a couple highlights in white to kind of make it gleam a little bit like it's glass. Make sure you get the sides. Make your bottle go off the edge there, and so now I'm going to wash my brush, clean that up really well, and whoops, let me scoop that a little bit and get some white, and think, oh no, never mind, we're going to do not the white yet. I wanted to do some more of the liquid inside the glass first. So get some of the vermilion, just straight vermilion, no straight red orange, no mixing, just straight up. So this is the sort of more translucent part of the liquid, so it's refracting and just kind of glowing almost in there. Add a little dabs. Just trying to, like I said, liquid's really hard to do, so it's okay if it's like super impressionistic here. And again, make sure that your brush is pulled really thin. So now we're going to go ahead and that way you can add a thin line of yellow along the edges of the vermilion inside the cup. Add some detail, just bright yellow. Few little details deeper in, just kind of highlighting things. And I'm gonna clean my brush again. And now I'm gonna get the white, so we're gonna start doing the highlights. So get some white that just goes right down the stem, the right side of the stem. You see that shines just really nice and bright. A little curve here where the top of the glass meets the stem, like the light is glistening off of it. And now we can actually add some white down here around the base to get that to shine a little bit more, kind of make it more distinct, so you can actually see that there's a base of the glass and it's not just growing out of the table. I mean, that'd be kind of cool, but it'd be really hard to drink out of without a straw. And again, to make the really narrow details, just pull on the brush to make it nice and thin. And that way you have a sort of makeshift detail brush. And again, if you don't like how it kind of looks or the pencil's still a little bit sharp, we can always paint over that. We're going to add a couple highlights in the liquid and on the edge of the bottle, right at the spout and on the underside of the bottle, to show that the light's kind of glinting off of the glass and the liquid. And we're going to add a few little highlights along the rim of the glass. I don't know how well that's going to turn out, but let me add some in the glass itself. Again, to try to make it kind of look like the liquid's swirling in the cup while it's being poured. Along the edge here, along the edge of the yellow. And a few more details. I'm going to add a little more red orange here. Just a bit more detail down here. And a little bit more in the pour. Add a little bit of white across that curve, just to show that the glass is curving and that the liquid is pouring into the glass. So you can either do it across the front edge like I did, or you can do it along the back edge. Just only do one of them. Don't do both, because it'll look weird if you do both. I'm going to add some more yellow, kind of from the back, from the light that's shining through it from the sun, because again, glass refracts things, so between the liquid and the glass itself, there's a lot of refracting going on, and a professional artist is going to know a lot more about how that actually looks. I'm just kind of winging it right here, so I can't guarantee that this is going to look the greatest, but that's okay, because we're learning, and I think it's still looking pretty good, even if I'm not getting all the lighting effects exactly correct. That's okay. And the yellow from the sun kind of got a little bit like lost, thanks to us having the stem of the glass here, so I'm going to add a little bit more with the sun shine with the yellow around the edge here. Just to make that a little bit more distinct. And I'm going to add some more yellow in the background here. So again, you get a better idea of that the sun is going down, the light is shining up, and you're seeing that, in the sky, through the liquid, through the glass itself. And so that yellow's getting kind of, every time the yellow dries, it gets kind of washed out. So I'm gonna mix a little bit of white and yellow here, maybe to lighten that up a bit. See if that works. Make it a little bit brighter. I just have to make sure that I integrate it with the rest of the lake so it's not just this random bar just sitting there, like the glass is radioactive or something. And a little more yellow. Yellow white here, just to lighten it up a bit. So it is just kind of refracting through the atmosphere. Because that's what sunsets are. It's light from the sun refracting at an angle through the atmosphere. That's what causes sunsets. At least that's a very simplified explanation of how sunsets are formed. If you want to learn more, there's books on how light works and sunsets and things like that, if you want to check those out. And got a little more yellow, blend that a little bit more. I'm gonna need some more vermilion and just a little bit to help that blend. We're gonna have a couple streaks in the water, some of the waves glinting. Yeah, that looks fine. Some vermilion mixed with yellow and some straight vermilion just to blend that a little bit more. Blend it out into the water. And again, if you need to paint over something because you don't like how it turned out, you can always wait until it completely dries and then go back and repaint over it, because once it's dry, it's easy to paint over, although you might need to do more layers so the underlying doesn't look through. So yeah, all right, that's looking good. I need to do something about the bottom of the glass here. I'm not quite. Should put the white all the way across. No, that doesn't look right, because the light doesn't work quite like that. So let me cover that up with some black. That's better. Okay, that's much better. So, there you go. I've tilted it back up, put it back up on the easel so you can see it a little bit better. I'm going to touch up right along the edges because some of the yellow kind of broke through the edges of the glass. So I'm just going to touch that up a little bit with some black, just so the edges of the glass are nice and crisp and clear. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Let me add a little bit of white to the clouds, just to show a little bit more of the light shining through, like the silver lining that you see in clouds, like that really bright. But yeah, I think we're nearly there. Yeah. So there we go. We have painted a beautiful picture of drinking some wonderful beverage overlooking a sunset in the summertime. So thank you all so much for joining us for this tiny art for adults and teens. And I really hope that you enjoyed it and you learned something. And hopefully we will see you for another one later in the year. But yeah, I think that turned out really nice.